Thank you, Tom. We have Rebecca, our board secretary for the second consecutive year. Rebecca.
Good evening all, and welcome to this session.
We have a very accomplished gentleman in the name of Vincent Opio, joined the board this year and is our board treasurer. Say hi, Vincent, to the members. Okay. All right, he'll still have a chance to talk to you later. We have Emily.
Sorry.
Oh, hi.
Sorry. Yeah, this is Vincent. I thought I was on mute. So good evening, members. It's my pleasure to join you in this forum today.
Thank you. We have Engineer Emily Kilongi, who is joining us, who is still with us and still chair of our RE subcommittee, real estate subcommittee. Emily, say hi.
Good evening, investors. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening.
Yes, we have Jackson, a board member, former treasurer, was out for about a year and is back with us. Say hi, Jackson.
Good evening, investors, and welcome. We'll deliberate together.
Thank you. We have, in the next slide, we have Jackson. No, sorry, we have Edward. Edward is joined us last year as a co-opted member and was confirmed as a member of the Central Management Committee during our AGM. Say hi, Edward.
Good evening, members.
Thank you. We have Mike. Mike, I don't know if Mike managed to join us. He had a personal issue that has cropped up just before this session. And we might have to excuse him. If Mike, you're on, you can say hi. Otherwise, we will get him later on, hopefully, if he manages to resolve his personal issue. Mike joined us this year, one of the three board members who joined us this year. He has a good skill in marketing and sales and is helping us to direct that side of the business. Then finally, we have Agnes, a board member in charge of the Business Development Committee this year and was vice chair for the last year, or the last 2 years, actually.
Good evening, members. Good
Thank you.
evening, members.
Thank you, Agnes. Yep. We have our supervisory team who oversee all the operations of the management and the committee. Judy. Judy is the chair of this supervisory committee this year. Judy, are you on? Okay, we can't see Judy. Kindly, I would ask us to mute if you're not talking. The IT team, maybe we might want to mute all people. Peter, if you're on, say hi. Peter is the outgoing, or he was a former chair of the supervisory committee and was re-elected back to this committee this year. Peter, say hi.
Good evening, investors.
Thank you. And we have Beth, who has been a member of this committee for 2 years now. This is her second year, that is. Beth, say hi to everyone.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this forum.
Thank you. And that is the board that you have in place today. We want to use this session to take you through what has happened in our operating environment, as well as the key things that we have been pushing. When we look at our operations today, I will go on to the next slide, please. Yes, we did present during our AGM various key things that we want to focus on in the year. We sent out that bulletin to our investors as well, and I hope we all had a chance to look at it in detail. We have various things that we are pushing, ensuring that we meet our strategic plan for the year. No, actually for the 5 years that we set out that strategic plan for. And we are continuing pushing as hard as we can. We have ensured that in the first quarter, we closed out on the key items agreed around resolutions of the AGM. This was to make sure that we don't fall back on any one of the items resolved at the AGM. In the past, we have had complaints from members where there has been a feeling that we have agreed on certain things in the AGM and passed them as resolutions, and management has not really fully implemented those. As of this year, we have decided that we will be doing this in quarter 1 and having an audit done in quarter 2 to make sure that all the resolutions have been implemented as passed, even as we continue to track our business plan for the year. We got, as every other business, sucked into the challenges around COVID-19. And since March, we have had multiple sessions trying to define what the organization should look like during this period. The management team has put together various plans that have been reviewed by the board, and we have come up with what we feel is a sustainable, possibly position for now, so long as things don't get much worse than they are. We have evaluated scenarios on what the worst case would be and how the country would move from the situation we are in now, and what that might look like if we don't come out quite quickly. What would the situation would look like if the economy gets hit much harder than it has been hit now. We anticipate that as the crescendo on the health front comes, soon thereafter we will possibly feel a huge and possibly elongated impact on the economic front, and this is likely to affect business. And you will see then what we are planning to do to mitigate some of those things. At the end of the day, as a board, our goal is to ensure that we maintain SIC as a going concern, and all our efforts now are concerted towards that. We have not done very well, and if you see in the next slide, we talk about our customer service. We haven't really spent enough effort in the past looking at our customer service. This has been possibly fronted by multiple things. We have a lot of historical projects that had not been resolved for a long time, and this was leading into a lot of demand into our chat groups, our Facebook page, our calls, etc. And we were getting overwhelmed because of that. We have taken a resolve this year to create a subcommittee to deal with the historical lands, what we have called the lands that were bought before 2018 that had not been resolved in terms of issuing titles to our clients, as well as any aspects relating to our investors. And we have created mechanisms where we are communicating much more effectively and trying to resolve the projects, updating the clients as we do so, and keeping them informed on all the actions. We have seen this reduce the demand in terms of calls into our channels. But then we have the double impact as well of COVID, where we have about half of our staff working from home, and therefore we are not able to still meet quite a bit of the demand that we have, especially on calls. You will see later on, we recommend that our investors and clients reach us on alternative channels, and that helps us to then be able to address some of the issues. We have given ourselves and the management team a 24-hour response period over working days, so that if a query is raised on email, then a client or a member should expect a response within 24 hours within the working time, so Monday to Friday. And we are trying to track and enforce that. That's also part of why we have selected some of the channels. so that we can be able to manage and control and monitor our quality. Kindly let's mute. Thank you. We are also implementing an ERP system that we expect to help us streamline some of our processes. We expect this to drive efficiencies around customer engagement, central view of our clients and our investors on all aspects, and a central place where we can manage communications in and out to our investors and clients. We also expect this to smoothen certain processes and free up capacity from within so that our employees can focus on more productive tasks as opposed to some of the tasks that we have them doing now, which involve a lot of physical movement of things between one place to another and offline communication on various things. So this forms the next that forms the basis of what we are going to set, and I invite the next person to come in and talk about the land matters. Edward.
Thank you, Chair. So good evening, members. My name is Edward Njoroge, as previously introduced. Now I'm going to speak about the historical land matters and deferred income. This was a huge topic of discussion during our AGM in February. And it is in that meeting that we agreed that we'll set up a dedicated task force to just look at what are the problems that are facing this organization and how do we resolve them. The key issues that we were facing were around, keeping our promise to our customers. So once we have sold properties to our customers, were we actually ensuring that they take up ownership and that they feel that they have actually received what it is that they have paid for? These are the same people that we go back to with subsequent offers and say, we have a new project that we would like to sell to you. And so we are reliant on them for the continued existence of organization. Secondly, we had an item around securing ownership of SIC assets. Unfortunately, historically, we have had issues around purchasing pieces of land where we place a deposit, sell off the property to customers, and yet we do not complete the transaction. Or we purchase a piece of land that we expect to sell to customers, and then we do not complete the purchase or the transfer of ownership to SIC. So these are the two main items that we've been dealing with this year. And essentially, we made a promise to you members that we would want to make sure that every single customer who has purchased from us in the past, from whom we distributed rebates to our members, we want to make sure that customer is happy and that they feel that they can come back and purchase again from us. So speaking about the largest issue that we've been dealing with has been Juja. I think this has been a pending item for probably now 10 years. And so starting off late last year and quite a bit of this year, we decided this is something that we are going to fix once and for all. And finally, when we decided to deal with it head on, we started getting traction and the floodgates open. And so far we've been able to issue 150 Juja 1 and Juja 2 leases to purchasers. A lot of the ones that are actually pending right now is where transfers have not yet been executed by the customer. And so we are reaching out to these customers, asking them where possible to come over, sign off on the transfers, and then we make sure that their titles are processed. Tinga and Kimuka have also been a big monkey on our back, where we did sell these pieces of land to our customers, and yet we have not provided them with titles. We now have a framework in place. We have spoken to the relevant government agencies. They have picked up our work and actually working really hard to make sure that titles are transferred. Second item was on securing ownership of SIC assets. There are many pieces of property that have been purchased over the years by this organization where we do not have actual ownership. Some of these have actually been transferred to third parties. We have sold them to customers. Others are still pending. This is one of the things that we have actually paid. We have actually decided to work on. There are several properties now that have actually been transferred to our name, especially in Kajiado County and Nyeri County. Despite the COVID crisis, we have had some government offices that are still open, and we have engaged them. And this, we have taken advantage of the fact that business is slow to try and sort out this issue. The third item we committed to, and this relates actually directly to you as investors, is on deferred income. So last year we spoke about the fact that we had made sales, but we were not able to distribute the profits coming out of those sales just because of the change in accounting standards. The IFRS 15 now requires that before you say you're going to recognize anything as income that is distributable, you must make sure you have completed your obligation to the person to whom you're selling. So if you have not given the customer his or her title, and they have it in their possession, then you cannot recognize that revenue in order for you to be able to distribute any profit. So we made a commitment to you that we are going to make sure that any title that is pending with us is actually going to end up in the hands of the customer, so that we are able to recognize that revenue in our books, and then possibly then distribute it to yourselves as investors of this organization. Lastly, the reason we are in all these problems is that we used to purchase properties, and then before we have even completed the transfer of the property to ourselves, we sell it off to customer. This is a practice that we have stopped entirely. Any project that we're now putting on the market is one where the titles are already in SIC's name. We actually divide the land into the individual plots and make sure that each plot is in the name of SIC. And then at that point, that is when we put it on the market, such that the customer is not going to be affected by third-party transactions. Once we sell something to you, it is a matter of SIC transferring the property to you, and then the investors then are able to recognize that there's some profit that has been made in that particular transaction. So overall, that is the strategy we have taken this year, and it's been, we've had some tremendous progress, much better than we expected. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Edward. So, Chair, Business Development, Agnes, if you're on.
Yes, I am on. Thank you, Chair. Members, welcome to this forum. Let's grow SIC together. I am the current chair for business development, and I'll take you through the new project or the business. How we are diversifying the business for SIC, so that we don't only just concentrate on land per se and housing, though we are changing the model. It's basically about changing the model of how we do business. And we are focusing on diversification to a great extent, where we are looking at areas like agribusiness, retail, health, logistics, and manufacturing. I'll just mention a few, and real estate, where other than us just selling land and doing houses or selling houses, we also want to be real estate agents. If we can do management of people for houses, that would be a diversification that we want to go to do. Then we are looking seriously into farming, especially in one of our lands at Fahari Ridge, Kajiado. We are still at the stage of doing a feasibility, so that we are sure of the business case even as we go forward. Then we have a project that is upcoming, although it's been held a bit by COVID-19 pandemic, which is the MGAS partnership with Safaricom, our mother company, in distribution of M-Gas. It's a project. They have a mobile cooking gas project. So we want to be their sole distributors. We are pursuing it, and we will close once COVID is over. Then I'm sure those who were here earlier, you watched the clip on one of our really flagship projects this year, Zaria Village, which is a joint venture. Instead of us buying land this time, we got people who have land, and then now we are subdividing the land and selling. And this land is of really good interest, not just to SIC, but even to our members, because several times our members have asked us if we can give them either housing units where people can commute or build their homes. Zaria Village is a very beautiful project where if you patronized the project, it's a 1/4 acre land. You can do your houses, your home. It's situated in Tatu City. Very beautiful project. I would urge the members to really look into this project for purposes of settling in. Then we have other projects where we are doing microfinance. We want to do an app where we can be even doing some bit of lending members, like a microfinance that is still at its preliminary stages. And then we also are looking into a partnership with a kind of a cooperative for people who do motorbikes. They would want us to finance motorbikes for their motorbike riders. It's a cooperative for motorbike riders, and that's basically what we are looking at. Then on the other one is we are looking into the diversification, where instead of us necessarily doing the houses, we partner with people who have built their ready houses, so that we do an agency selling model. And our agency selling model is already in place for houses where we have a project in Suru Gardens where we are doing agency selling. We have Malvan Apartments where we are doing agency selling. We have Green Zone also on Kiambu Road. Very good projects, all of them, and they are complete and ready to be patronized. And then we are also diversifying from not necessarily buying land for us to subdivide. We identify land that the person has already bought, it has a ready title, and so that instead of us buying and tying our capital, we now do agency selling on that land. And that's basically how we are diversifying. We are still open to new ideas in terms of areas of diversification. So if you have any ideas, you can drop those ideas to us, even to the office. Do an email to us so that we pick it up. We would want to get into a green energy space for diversification. And even health. We have a few hospitals that we have looked around, but we have not farmed up. But really, the essence of business development is to move SIC from relying solely on land and even housing, real estate, knowing that we are experiencing a crunch in some of these areas, so that then we can have a sustainable business model. We also encourage you to give us referrals to even businesses that could be struggling, so that we can do some kind of a partnership with them and get something going. And especially on the Zaria Village project, we are encouraging collaboration with you members. And we have a model where there will be commission paid to those who make referrals to us, they buy, so that then it is both it has something incoming for you, as well as so we can market it together. So that's basically what I had for you this evening. I wish to encourage every member, if you have an idea, we are open to new ideas. We will critique together. We will do feasibility of those ideas together, so that then we diversify and we have a sustainable business model going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Ari. This is part of the Zaria project progress, what we are doing on the ground, the gatehouse, the perimeter wall. I can see someone was asking for some of our projects whether we'll be doing perimeter wall. This is one where we are doing a classic perimeter wall typical. We'll do the roads as well. So we'll do quite a bit of the infrastructure, and that's what is good with a partnership. Then the next, we go into affordable housing. I invite Chair Ari to talk about this.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Engineer Emily Kilongi, and as has been introduced, I'm the Chair for the Real Estate Committee. So one of the projects that we have taken up within our committee is the affordable housing project. As we all know, affordable housing is one of the key pillars for the government of Kenya. And as SIC, we have land in Ruaka, around 3 acres, where we want to implement the project. This project is in line with the government strategic plan to meet the housing needs of its citizens. As we are all well aware, we have a lot of housing going on, but we have a very huge chunk of people who are not able to afford the kind of houses that we've seen, we can say maybe in the past. So we are embarking on an affordable housing project targeting our members and also members of the public. And what we have done towards implementation, we have already launched a request for proposal, and we expect by the end of June of this year, we are going to have a development manager on board. The development manager is going to give us professional advice on how to set up the affordable housing project and everything that we need to consider for it to be a community that is self-sustaining with housing that is affordable enough for our members and also other people within the, also other members of the society. We expect once we have the consultant on board, we'll go into the conceptual designs, and then they'll prepare the documents that will enable us to procure a contractor. We are looking at groundbreaking towards the last quarter of this year. As an office, both at committee level and also at management level, we have been well sensitized on the affordable housing. We've seen the kind of construction materials that are being used. And what we want to deliver is a very quality product for our members. And within a short duration of time, we are looking towards completion sometime next year in order to enhance the technical capacity of the office to implement the project. We have recruited an engineer. And so we can say that we are very well prepared to undertake this project, and we look forward to your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Ari. I now welcome the Treasurer.
Good evening, members. I think somebody needs to mute. Good evening, members. Pleasure once again to join you for this session. My name is Vincent Opio. I joined the board at the last AGM, and my fellow board members nominated me to be the treasurer. I think maybe before I go to the content of the slide, one of the things that as a board we are so determined to achieve is to transform the culture in SIC into a listening and caring organization. I think every time I see, items in social media, I gather that our membership is very angry. And, you talk about Kimuka, you talk about Juja,
We have lost you, Treasurer. Are you still here? Hello.
Looks like we lost him.
Hello?
Oh, hi, we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now. Yeah, so yes. I was saying in terms of how we allocate our resources, we've intentionally decided as a board to allocate resources to handle the historical issues and have as well a select committee within the board to make sure that that is done. So baby steps made, but we hope by the time we get to the AGM, we'll have a different story to our members. Secondly, we are looking at our culture, as staff, as a board, to transform ourselves into what our organization requires. And being a sales organization, we depend a lot on referrals. So a beautiful organization, but I think historical issues have made us look so bad, to our membership. So it is something that we are so determined to reinvent and change, as we move into the future. So the other thing that we are also focusing on in the COVID environment, again, cost is a big issue. So just looking at our cost structure and making sure that we only spend in areas that will add value to our organization. So quickly to the slide before you. So in the last AGM, approval was made to split, shares for every 1 share into 10 shares, and then at the same time to reduce the price because our share price was pretty high. It was 525 Kenya shillings. So that has since been reduced to 52 shillings and 50 cents. And then we also wanted to make it easier for people to join our organization. So today at 52 shillings and 50 cents, you only need 500 shares minimum to join, and then with a joining fee of 10,000 shillings. So with 36 shillings, as opposed to previously when you needed 72,000 shillings, you actually become our member. So that has been effected. Then also, we're also aware that there's a backlog of members who are waiting to sell their shares. In the last AGM, we mentioned that we've begun a journey at the Nairobi Stock Exchange to create some more liquidity in our shares. So that is progressing well. I think we'll keep updating you as we unlock it with the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Then the third thing that I want to talk about is in the last AGM, we agreed that members would activate their monthly contributions, and the agreement was that minimum contribution would be 3,000 shillings, and that entire amount would go into interest earning deposits. So you put it in for 2 years, then we'll pay you interest at 11%. So my appeal to members is, to patronize this together with, other products that we have. As a board, we've taken a conscious decision to activate our contributions, and we've agreed that we'll do a minimum of 10,000 just to make sure that we create back, that trust that we need to have in this beautiful organization that we have. And then we'll also appeal to you to keep, referring members, referring customers to the projects that we are currently undertaking. Otherwise, thank you so much. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Vincent, for that elaborate and engaging piece. I welcome Jackson, to take us through this.
Good evening, members. Welcome again. My name is Jackson Mulwa, a board member. I'll be taking you through this slide. Members, in cognizance with the effects of COVID-19, we did review our rates for our PPR product, but we still believe that our rates are still very competitive as compared to the market, whereby we are looking at investments for 6 months up to 1 year, whereby you can roll your investment if you so wish as an investor. The rates that we are looking at, a minimum of 10% for a value of 50,000 to 12% for any amount 3 million and above. When you look at the market and what is happening, these rates, we believe we are very competitive. And as a board, we are looking at your support to be able to support the organization in patronizing their product and also putting a good word for SAC out there to your friends and family to be able to patronize the same. Members to be able to increase the efficiency also in terms of our accounting and operations of the organization. We started a journey for the implementation of ERP. We remember in the AGM, we approved a budget of 27 million to be able to put up an ERP system that will be bringing efficiency to the organization and also change the way we address members' issues from customer care, project management, finance, and HR. We are on speed to be able to complete this implementation. We'll be doing UATs, that is user acceptance tests, by the end of June. Thank you very much, members. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Jackson, for that one as well. I welcome the Vice Chair to take us through the last slide.
Okay, good evening, members. My name is Tom Makakiagi, and I'll be taking you through the last slide. The last slide basically is a capstone of all the things that we are doing, because business continuity plan is all about how we are ensuring that the company is a going concern. So some of the things that we have done as a board and management is to put the safety of our people or our employees first. And we have initiated and in some cases expanded flexible working arrangements where employees come in different sessions. Maybe one comes on Monday, another one on Tuesday, etc., depending on the work that they are doing. We've ensured that we provide them with personal protective equipment like masks, face shields, and ensure that soap and sanitizers are provided in the office, just to make sure that their safety is taken care of. The other thing that we also do is to issue regular and very transparent communication so as to be able to reassure our employees of the organization being there to support them as we go through this pandemic. The communication doesn't only go to our employees alone. This is also part of the communication that we do to our stakeholders, like this investor forum communication, where we keep our stakeholders appraised on the impact of the organization, the products that we are offering, and any effect on our service delivery. As we do this, we also ensure that we balance business as usual mindset so that people feel comfortable to continue going through this pandemic. We know that this pandemic has affected both ourselves as an organization, the stakeholders, be they in Kenya or outside. We continue to assess the ability of our suppliers to be able to deliver on whatever we depend on them to deliver. So if there are contracts or any conditions or loans that we have with our banks or even creditors and investors, we ensure that they are continue performing so as to be able to make sure that our liquidity position, things like short-term liquidity position, our financial and operational risks are taken care of. Of course, we are regulated as a SACCO, and therefore we make sure that we continuously talk to the regulator. We also talk to Kenya Revenue Authority just to make sure that if there are any specific liabilities, then we are able to take care of those ones. As we progress with this, we ensure that the business continuity is continuously evaluated. So we have numerous meetings with the board, that is within the board, and also the management. We look at alternative sources of funds, and the treasurer mentioned about investors patronizing our products, and also talking about the products so that we can be able to sell the products that we have. We have also looked at the effect on budgets and the business plans that we had set out to achieve. So those ones are continuously being reviewed and rejigged so that we can be able to at least achieve what we had promised. You also know that COVID-19 has affected both domestic and diaspora markets. So we continuously come up with ways of reaching these markets, and digital marketing has become very, very crucial in that manner. As we do this, we continuously also take decisions, because this is an evolving situation, and our chairman mentioned that we hope that this particular pandemic will become better. And as we do this, we are also doing things like cost cutting, that is the things that we can actually take advantage of and we have full control over. I guess those are the 4 actions that we've built around SIC, so as to be able to ensure that the results look like what we had promised. Thank you. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. That wraps up our presentation, and we go into some question and answers. I see we have spent a little more time than expected here. First, I would pick up from what has been posted on the chats, and if you have any other questions, let's continue posting. Let me just pick myself. I think chat group and